Hello there. Welcome to Maldon in Essex, a very special filming location. I'm standing across from the spot where Eddie Kidd performed one of his most famous jumps, and what made this even more special is that the jump was part of the 1981 movie Riding High, where Eddie played the role of Dave Munday, a motorcycle stuntman. This is where the old railway line used to run, and it was an 80-foot jump across the old viaduct and above a 50-foot drop down into the Blackwater estuary. Although it's listed as being 1981, the first scenes were filmed in October of 1979. A movie that went under many radars, made in the era when films were being churned out left, right and centre. So many failed to reach huge audiences, and if sales are poor, it's deemed a flop. But I like it, and even more so now, looking back, as it's from a time before the world changed really. Huge redevelopments and fine actors who are no longer with us, sadly. And it was a fine cast joining Eddie: Linda Bellingham, Daniel Peacock, Zoot Money, and the phenomenal Irene Handel. The viaduct was partially demolished in the mid-60s, leaving a huge gap across the river. The soundtrack to the film is superb. Music from Boomtown Rats, Chic, Dire Straits, Joe Jackson, Jerry Lee Lewis, Madness, Gary Newman, The Police, The Pretenders, Cliff Richard, The Shadows, Zoot Money, Squeeze, Eddie Kidd himself, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. For a film that present day is virtually unknown, there won't be many out there that can top this ensemble. And looking across here on the estuary bank, this is where the camera crew seen in the movie set up. At 16, Eddie was Britain's youngest ever motorcycling world record holder. On a 500cc, he soared 108 feet to clear 13 double-decker buses at Pickett's Lock Sports Centre in North London. I'm approximately below where Eddie would have been on the edge, looking over this huge gap, which was blasted with dynamite. It looks nothing like present day, and the bypass which was eventually built is substantially lower. It's only when you stand here looking across and then look at the view in the film that it hits home how big a drop it actually was. So it's all changed here. Beeching took care of the railway line, and eventually the bypass was built, which runs right across where Eddie took his life-risking jump. This was Eddie's sole performance as a main character in a feature film. The movie site states that an alternative ending was shot in case he never survived the jump. That is incorrect, and was confirmed to me by the director himself. No, we didn't have an alternative ending, just in case. Of course we knew it was a possibility, but were convinced he'd make it, until the day of the event when I was waving him off, and I got very nervous for his safety. Hats off to the crew member that managed to write all of this from the wrong way up. When the Halifax Hellcat masquerades as Judas, who is in no state to attempt the jump, he heads off and we see this bridge further down the old track bed, and that would have been here. The bridge goes over the River Chelmer. We see the track bed again when Dave sets off for his attempt. And it would have been somewhere over here in this area where the team set up camp. He started his effort 400 yards back and reached 100 miles an hour. What can you say about Eddie Kidd? Over 12,000 jumps in his career. Brave, risk taker, winner. He beat Robbie Knievel in a jump-off over in the USA in 1993, and although it's deeply sad that in 1996 an accident left him paralysed and with brain damage, the positive stayed with Eddie, and he created the Eddie Kidd Foundation, providing help and support to stunt performers and extreme sports professionals who have suffered disability or illness through their professional activities. There's a golf course down here, and it was there back at the time of filming, as you see some golfers playing. They would have been going about their business, no doubt, and some totally oblivious to the happenings right across from them. He would later go on to be stuntman for Bond actors Timothy Dalton in The Living Daylights, Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye, also for Roger Moore and Michael Caine in Bullseye, and Harrison Ford in Hanover Street. And he was awarded the OBE in 2012 for services to charity. Thank you for watching.